All right, let's see what's happening in the world of rural real estate. We've got a market update now, and of course we do that with the team at Property Brokers. The GM of Rural there is our good mate Conrad Wilkshire, who joins us now. Conrad, good to talk. How are you?
Yeah, always good to talk, Dom. Yeah, good, thank you.
End of season, so I guess for you guys it's probably end of season as well when it comes to the calendar when you go through it. To the end of June, how do things stack up?
Yeah, look, it's good, actually, in a word. We did 1.1 billion in rural real estate. That's farmers and growers for the 12 months to June. And actually, that's certainly by far and away our business milestone for us. And in fact, through that run up to Christmas, we were doing more in a month than we used to do in a year. So, look, the market has been good, but equally the market overall for our farmers and growers has been very positive for this last 12 months across the board. The market as a whole sits at about 4.6 billion, so it's a big system, and it operates in terms of the sales that go to the open market. It's about 1,500 sales a year. I think the actual number for this last 12 months to end of June was just shy of that. So it's actually not as big a market as one may think, but the value of it at 4.6 billion shouldn't be underestimated, and overall there's some pretty good lead indicators for dairy and for hill country and arable systems alike across the board, actually, horticulture too, I might add.
4.6 billion, yeah, that's not a bad sort of a industry in terms of a dollar value, that is for sure. When we look ahead then, the season ahead, what's on the radar, do you think? What will people be looking at?
Well, it's all very well, us speaking to our business numbers, but actually when I think about, our role with farmers and growers, it's often sometimes good thinking about the land that we actually transact. And we did close to 56,000 hectares of land transfers last year. And so looking ahead, our view on that is there's going to be more complexity with these sales this next 12 months or the next 24 months as people really start to understand the implications of the national environmental standards around fresh water. And I think there's a lot of conversation on water. People talk about three waters and the rest of it, but actually the national environmental standards on fresh water are actually in effect now. And there's not a lot of general knowledge around that. And so we're taking quite a bit of time at the moment with rural professional briefings. I'm actually up in Gisborne today doing exactly that, and making sure that the people that are supporting our farming sector have got maybe some of the inquiry questions, so if they're advising their clients about whether they're thinking about listing this season or not, that we're arming them with some questions around what do they know around these new standards and what information do they have on their farm for the various reference periods, be it under the existing regional planning or under, as set out under the new standards. And I think it's really important we get line of sight on that early in this, because when you go to market, Dom, as you know, it's often like a 4 to 6 week marketing window.
Yeah.
And, that's actually pretty tricky to navigate if you're still trying to get all the information requirements around what you were depasturing 5 years ago or how much cropping ground and because the whole change, Dom, is around intensification. If a new owner has always wanted to try and put their mark on the property, and you just need to be sure that you can.
Yeah, good point. Very salient point, as you're saying, and forgive the pun, but the landscape is changing, isn't it?
It is.
So when we look at that then in terms of, I don't know, like a call to action, I suppose, for people, whether they be buyers, or vendors, what would you sort of say at this stage of the year as we sort of get into that new season frame of mind? What would you tell people?
Well, the national environmental standards are there for the betterment of the environment, and they're here to stay. I would be encouraging people to actually get up to speed with what the changes might mean for their farm systems anyway, to help future-proof their business and make sure they can navigate those policy settings. But even more so, if you're contemplating a sale or want to look at the options of a sale, or what is your current land use at the moment? And if you were looking to go to market, are you able to market the property under that land use? And can somebody coming in operate in the same way you've been operating? or if they want to change it, are they able to change it? And particularly when it comes to intensification, and I'll give you just a little example, is that, if you look at the cost of grain and what's going on with feed inputs for farmers, it's significant. And so a lot of people are saying, well, why don't we bring all this in-house? So rather than milking all the cows and wintering off, we'll winter on, or some variation of that.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a plan. That's actually a change in your farming system, and it's actually considered, interestingly enough, an intensification when you're wintering on. And whether you're able to do that or not is not a fait accompli, and it certainly needs the benefit of a second opinion. So when you have a look at what fertiliser companies have in terms of some guidance, and you look that up, there's some actually really useful practical guides for farmers to consider and have a look at, to ask the questions. But I would just be encouraging people to get good advice on farm and actually seek that support. And equally, if they're contemplating anything around real estate, we're happy to get alongside and help steer them to people that actually have built really good businesses around that. Obviously, you take Canterbury and Southland, there's been a lot of media focus around that, but these standards apply up and down the country. And, we just need to make sure our vendors get the best opportunity to get the best information. Because what can happen is if we don't get the information to the level of need, sometimes you're in the sale process and it's slow coming forward, people can lose confidence in the process and buyers can back out because it's all got a little bit too hard. And, it is a confidence thing when you're working with buyers to step up to buy a property.
So get your ducks in a row and go visit the team at pb.co.nz. Conrad, as always, a pleasure.
Cheers, Dom.